Welcome to the podcast, Truck Hauling Talks. I'm John Jackson. The goal of this podcast is to bring you thoughtful discussions, interesting points of views, insights, and valuable information that you can apply to your trucking operation. The podcast is dedicated to exploring the most pressing transportation challenges from development and start to implementation. Truck Hauling Talks believes that transportation is an essential part of our daily lives and is passionate about finding ways to make it more sustainable, efficient, and profitable for drivers and small businesses. Thank you for listening to Truck Hauling Talks. Now here's this week's podcast. Wisdom and Authority Title Solutions can help motorists, specifically truck drivers who are trying to register a truck or get an MC number or their authority. What is it that you run into as being their biggest problems?
The gross weight, the empty weight, the combo weight. Those things are factors because, if your vehicle is titled with the wrong weight, that's going to affect the loads that you can carry. Right. And you can also run into issues at the scales.
Okay.
So making sure that title work is sufficient and making sure the vehicle is titled correctly is going to be the base point so that you will not have issues when you are hauling. You want to make sure that stuff is done first. Because if you're caught at the scales and you're not complying, then guess what's going to happen? Now you got to get your title corrected, which is going to take more time, from you hauling.
Okay.
And when your truck is sitting, y'all don't make money.
Right. So we're trying to make sure that you do things the right way and that you have those things in position to allow you to haul freight as soon as possible. Auto title mistakes was one of the ones you spoke on. What are the mistakes that we make in the trucking industry? Or we assume that something is supposed to be one way and we don't get the right type of paperwork in. Could you explain that?
Sure. So again, it's going to be document related. And then sometimes, unfortunately, you guys may be just like the passenger vehicles, the customers in that aspect, buying vehicles without titles, or not getting sufficient documentation with that title. Okay, so that's going to be a mistake or an omission. Sometimes the VIN on the title in question could be wrong. If you bought a vehicle from somebody who got it from a prior state, or maybe DMV made a clerical error, and it was not caught then. The odometer reading can be an issue. Let me just say that the odometer reading, even though a lot of times it's not required in certain states due to the weight that you guys are at, but you don't want to assume some states still require that odometer reading. Okay. So you do want to provide the correct reading. And if not, some guys sometimes they may not put anything, or they may put the wrong mileage. This could also affect your title record. Okay. Also, people sometimes put, correction tape or whiteout on, the title or supporting documents. These things that I've mentioned will definitely reject you or, cause your transaction to be delayed as far as DMV is concerned.
Okay. So it's illegal for them to alter that paperwork in any...
Correct.
Okay, because it's an official document.
Even though you might have that title, let's say you get it from a dealer, you get it from a private party, and you realize yourself that there's an error.
Right.
Okay, that's fine, but you just can't take it upon yourself to alter. Unfortunately, you will need to go through the necessary channels to get it corrected. You will either go through an agency such as mine, or deal with the DMV, or the private party, or whoever you bought the vehicle from, to go through the process of getting recorrected or redone some kind of way.
Okay, and how long would that process take if that is the case?
It really varies. Let me just say, when it comes to the title itself, if you have correction tape, that's an automatic void. So you would have to get a duplicate title by means of, chasing down the person or the dealer that sold you that vehicle.
Okay.
Or even the auction, whoever, you got it from.
Okay.
But it could be anywhere from a few days, few weeks, sometimes worst case, a couple of months. months, depending on the situation and depending on your state.
Okay, so what are the problems that you may run into dealing with an auction?
So when it comes to an auction, let me just say, auctions, sometimes they do go through the licensing process as dealers, but sometimes they are not as thorough as dealers. Let me say that. They're not
Okay.
going to always give you the paperwork or that title, depending on the type of auction. You got auctions such as Copart, and IAA and different ones that maybe are salvage related, or even, pick and pull type of auctions. You really have to make sure if they're going to give you the paperwork, and if so, what are you going to receive from them? Okay, so it really depends on the process.
Okay.
It can be even an auction like, an abandoned vehicle, depending on the state, or mechanic lien type of auction. Let's say there's a lot and they have tractor trailers for sale or whatever, because maybe they were left there and abandoned.
Yes.
They, again, may not give you that proper paperwork. So be sure that what you have is sufficient. It's just going to be a gamble you're going to take.
Okay.
And you have to decide whether you want to take that risk or not, because if you go to the DMV, again, depending on your state, you could have problems.
Okay.
Because they're not going to always give you everything that you need.
Not really dealing with an auction before myself personally. How do you know what paperwork you should receive from them? How do you know, because somebody might say, hey, this is all we have. This is all you need to take down there to DMV and you should be fine. If you have any problems, come back and see us. And that's not the case at all. It may be something that's not spoken by the auction house. And what red flags should we look for when we're dealing with that paperwork?
Good question. So some auctions, they do have their website, and they have the vehicles in question. They have the pre-auction information, if you will, and some will tell you they'll have the vehicles, and they might say title work provided or title work not provided. That's a good start. Okay, at least some are being transparent to let you know up front, we have this or we don't. Okay. If you receive what you have, just ask them, hey, do I need everything that you're giving me, or is it something else? And if you're not really getting that solidity from them, reach out to the DMV, explain the situation, or reach out to an agency such as ours. Because again, it's kind of like a half and half situation. Some auctions may really not know what they're supposed to give you. The auctioneer, all he knows is, hey, I'm just going to conduct the auction. I don't really have all of the insight regarding the paperwork. So it's kind of like they don't know either. But then you do have some that don't care, and they're just trying to make a quick sale and get you out of the way.
Now, let's say for some unforeseen reason, and somebody ends up with someone who does hold an auction, and they just disappear on you after the auction. Now you're with this vehicle that you can't register. Is there a process, or is there something that can be done to help you be able to register that vehicle once all of this is brought to light that they don't have the proper paperwork?
So it is a possibility that you can still get the title. It depends on your state. So in that case, let's speak of Virginia, for example. There's two options that is available to you if you don't have the proper paperwork. But one process, again, it really depends. You may have to go to court. Your recourse would either be to sue for damages because the person has now put you in a financial disarray. You spent money on getting this vehicle that you now can't drive due to not having a proper title. Or two, you can ask the court to get, a court order for a title. And if all goes well, you will have that court order submitted to DMV, and you can get a title from that. So it really depends on your state, but that is one feasible option for Virginia that is available. But again, keep in mind, even though some things are still case by case. And it really depends on the severity of your situation.
And that still can be very time consuming.
It can. So, because, when it comes to courts, their dockets, basically, you're looking at about maybe 3 to 4 months at least, to get seen anyway.
So I guess we just have to do our homework, truckers, and everyone else who are looking for vehicles. Just do your homework and make sure it's a reputable auction house that's holding that particular auction that you're going to, and that they have the proper paperwork. What would be the proper paperwork? What is it? Is it a title in hand that they have, or?
When it comes to the auction, let's just say everything is there.
Okay.
And I can talk about the auction. I can talk about the dealers as well, or even if you're buying from a private party.
Right.
If the vehicle is brand new, of course, you're buying it at the dealership level, a franchise dealer,
Right.
then you should be receiving what's called an MCO, or a manufacturer certificate of origin. It's like a brownish cream certificate.
Okay.
That's if you're buying a brand new vehicle. Okay, you're going to get that. You will have your purchase agreement, and possibly the title application, and the odometer disclosure statement. Those are going to be the core documents if you're buying that vehicle brand new. Okay. Now it could be other documents depending whether it's going to be a leased vehicle. I mean, I'm just covering the very basics.
Okay.
But that's a brand new. If you're buying a pre-owned vehicle, you could have several documents.
Okay.
That could go with that because it's pre-owned and it's going from one owner to the next. But MCO, 9 times out of 10, it's not going to be a whole lot of documents with that because it's a brand new vehicle.
Okay. Okay. Now, could you repeat the ones just before that, because I was playing with the audio, so it went down on when you were saying those particular first things. I'm sorry, that's on me.
So for the MCO, manufacturer certificate, origin, that's basically the document you would need if the vehicle is brand new.
Okay, and
that will come from the dealership. You will have your the MCO certificate.
Mm-hmm.
You will have possibly the title application and the purchase agreement, which is also, in simple terms, your bill of sale.
Okay. What about and on the used side? What was that?
On the used side, you will be getting a certificate of title.
Okay.
Possibly a dealer reassignment, and it could be multiple. I mean, if the vehicle has changed hands many times, then of course you have more documents.
Okay.
At hand as well. You can have affidavits. You can have lien release, a lien release statement, title application, and so on. But again, if you're buying pre-owned, it is more documents that will be attached to that title.
Okay. What about police auctions?
Police auctions pretty much can be the same thing. Again, all auctions, it really depends on the state too. Okay. Sometimes they will have the title, sometimes they will not. Okay. It just depends. Because the way it works with auctions, a lot of times, the way it works, DMV allows auctions to play out in 2 ways. Let's talk about your regular auto mechanic. Somebody did not decide or could not pay for their vehicle repairs.
Yes.
The body shop has the option of getting that title in their name if they choose to.
Okay.
Or they may say, we don't want the title, we just want the money. So they have the paperwork process as a second alternative that they can package up and then give to you, the buyer, if you bought that vehicle from their auction. Okay. And then you in turn, assuming the paperwork is correct, you'll go to DMV and you can walk with the title. So it really depends on the state. Some body shops get the title, or some, police branches, they will do the same thing. You can get that title, but some may not want to go that route. They may just want to get the paperwork. But again, that paperwork could be missing some pieces. Okay. So you still got to be careful.
Okay. All right. That was great information on going to auction houses for possible purchases of transportation vehicles. Again, this is John with Truck Hauling Talks, and I'm speaking with Chanel with Wisdom and Authority Title Solutions. And we're talking about the things that concern our trucking industry. You may be a company driver right now and you're looking to become an owner operator, or you may be a small business and you're looking to scale your business. And this is critical information for you because you want to be able to find something that's a lot more economical than going to purchase something that's going to be upwards of $200,000, for a brand new tractor trailer or more. It just depends. There's no telling which way it's going to go, but we know with the trucking industry, we do have a lot of high cost in the beginning before we even get a chance to put a tractor on the road to start earning. So thank you for tuning in. If you have a comment, if you have a question, if you have an idea, if it's a series you would like for us to discuss for your benefit or for the benefit of others, let us know. Leave a comment, share this information with others. Again, we stated earlier that you may be in the trucking industry and a friend of yours gave you advice, didn't turn out right for you, you got frustrated, you decided you wanted to just not pursue what it was that you wanted to pursue in the trucking industry. Wisdom and Authority Title Solutions is right here. Answers are waiting for you. It may be simpler than you think. It may not have been that situation at all. It could have been that you were trying to get things registered in a category that wasn't even a category that you needed to be in for the freight that you're going to be hauling. You know, it could have been hazmat or some other category that they were going into that you don't need for your particular license. Okay, thank you for giving us that information, Chanel.
Thanks for having me.
Is there anything that you'd like to share with any motorists or truck drivers that can help them with this auction process or in the trucking industry with registration that we didn't get a chance to touch on?
So I just want to share, do not assume that what you have is complete or that you have everything. Do not go off of hearsay. One of the things I've learned from serving truckers over the years, you guys, relay information, and I get it. That's great. But just because your friend is telling you something about your title or registration needs because it worked for him, it does not mean that you're in the same situation and that it's going to work for you. Again, you guys haul different things. You're in different locations, different states. Every state is different.
Yes.
Okay. You have different requirements, different things you have to comply with. So do not assume, because if you do, it will delay your hauling. When it comes to DOT and DMV, you will get to run around. You will go back and forth until it gets done correctly, no exceptions.
Okay.
So to avoid all of that, feel free to visit me at wisdomandauthority.com for more insight and guidance.
Okay. All right. Thank you again for tuning in with us. This will be a weekly podcast.